Hiya folks, and welcome back to Fishing with Den. So, have you ever arrived at a brand new venue that you've never fished before? You've got no idea about it at all really, except that it's got carp in it of course, because pretty much where I live that's all that's around. But you've now got to fish it, and you think to yourself, okay, how do I start? Well, this video is just a few helpful hints and tips on how to approach something that you know nothing about. A lot of it is what you do most of the time anyway when you go to any new venue. But let's just run through the process and hopefully you might pick up a few, as I say, hints and tips. So the first thing you do is before you get here, you do some research. Now, if you're in the UK and it's a well-known venue, there's probably YouTube videos on it, there's all sorts going on. So that's a dead easy one. But let's say you've maybe joined a club, and so that the club venue, club pond, doesn't have any publicity at all. Well, in that case, of course, you can ask club members. If you're actually a member of the club, go down there and have a chat with anyone that's fishing. Try not to bother them too much, but get an idea of what they're doing and how they're doing it. But what about if, like me today, you've come to a venue, and maybe it's a private venue, local farm pond that you've managed to get permission to fish, and nobody seems to know much about it, including the local tackle shop. Well, in that case, you're going to have to go through a process. Now, in my case, I was a bit lucky in that 2 or 3 of the boys came down to this place in the winter, and they did catch a few fish. So all I know is it's got carp in it. It's fairly shallow, probably sort of 3 feet deep, and from what I can gather, they fished right the way up there. Maybe you can see that bridge. Let's see if I can actually, oh no, actually you'll probably be able to see it on this camera. If not, I'll pan around in a second and we'll do it on my phone so you can see what's what. But they fished somewhere way down there, and this place is 4 kilometers long, so it's just under 3 miles long, and it's probably 60 or 70 meters wide. I believe it's man-made, and it's fed by a river from that end, and it sort of goes out at that end, or the other way around. Don't know enough about that to know. So what do you do? How do you go about it? Well, if you've got no information, you've got to get on the bank, and you've got to work it out for yourself. So here I am. I'm sat here with this venue. A little tiny bit of information. So what I'm going to do is I've set up a bomb, just a 1 ounce bomb, I think that is, on my feeder rod, and I'm just going to chuck it out to start off with. Let's just see if they're right. So I'm expecting 3 feet. I'm going to go, let's say 30 meters and 1. Yeah, right. For anyone that doesn't know what I just did, when you cast out a bomb and it hits the surface, you've got to bend in the tip of your rod. When that springs back, your bombs hit the bottom. And we generally work on 3 feet per second. And that took about a second. So it's probably 3 feet deep out there. I'm going to cast a little bit shorter. I'm not intending to go all the way across there today, because you never know, there might be somebody comes along and decides to fish on the other side. But anyway, I don't really propose to go more than sort of 30 meters. This time we'll do 20, and yeah, that may be even slightly shallower. So one more cast at around about sort of 15. And yeah, same as before. So it feels like it's pretty flat. So that's one good thing, because what you're looking for, of course, is the contours of the bottom. And so let me just tie this up, or connect this to the hook keeper, and I'll explain what I'm talking about. Right. When you first arrive at a swim, you want to know whether it's got, say, just down here, maybe it's going to be 2 feet deep, then it's going to go out, and then there's maybe a slope, and then, I don't know, maybe there's a flat bit, and maybe there's another slope further out, maybe it gets deeper. It also might get shallower. Certainly on gravel pits, they can be all over the place. You can be fishing in 12 feet of water, and then all of a sudden you're fishing in 2 feet, because that's the way the gravel came out. So, as you saw from that, I've got a rough idea that it probably is about 3 feet-ish deep all the way back. Now, under normal circumstances, it's probably going to be a foot shallower, or 18 inches shallower than it is now, because, as I say, we've got this flood water in it. And the worrying thing is, I've been here for probably best part of an hour setting up, and Haven't seen a fish yet. So the next thing you can do is you could use a waggler rod and you can plumb the depth further in if you want to, a bit more accurately. But what I'm going to do, because it is more accurate, is I'm going to use a pole. Now I've taken this rig out. It's 0.4 of a gram because, as I said, they said it was about 3 feet deep, and that's about right. I'll put a plummet on and we'll start to plumb the depth. I'm going to start by plumbing right in the edge because I need to know if it's that deep or that deep. Remember, this isn't a commercial, this is a natural venue. So I'm just going to literally just put it down. That's where the edge of the bank is. And yeah, look, so from there, which is the bank, go out 6 inches and I've got probably about a foot or so of depth. You can't really tell too accurately by just doing it like that, so what I'll do is I'll pull this float down. Let's get this down somewhat further. Yes, I know I've got lots and lots of line which I shouldn't have from the tip to the float, but that's not a problem because we're not fishing yet. So that's probably, let's call that 2 feet deep by the time you've got to the float. So there's the grass, tied up on the bottom of the grass there, and right in the edge, and then yeah, look, that goes down from the edge of the grass there. See that? So I've actually got a good depth right off the edge of this. Now, being man-made, it's probably been scooped out with an excavator, but yeah. So working out, it's just going slightly deeper. So what I'm going to do now, you're also checking for bottom features. In fact, let me get that piece of weed off, some sort of green streamer weed stuff, because sometimes you can tell what's on the bottom by looking at your plummet. So if I let's just get 3 sections on first of all. Start from where I was, and right, so floats there, getting deeper, a little bit, well, probably fraction deeper. So what we'll do now is we'll go that 6 inches or so deeper, but yeah, that's not bad. I'm not going to worry about the shotting pattern for the moment. I'm just going to go 6 inches deeper. And in many ways, as I say, this is just like when you approach a swim on a commercial just to see what's what. So yeah, it's gone flat there, look. Hardly any movement in the depth at all. Out to the 3rd section. See what we've got. Yep, a bit deeper now. And yeah, basically we've got a very, very slow drop off. No, it's not a drop off, it's a slide off. Basically what we're looking at here, I think, is just a bowl, just a flat bowl once you got past that initial edge margin sort of depth. So I'll go to the 6 inches deeper, and now we're probably at about sort of 3 feet-ish. As I say, this is probably about a foot to 18 inches deeper than normal because of all this flood water. But here we go then. Just working your way out, and again it's just gradually, oh, that was actually about the same there. Let's just have a couple more sections on. As I say, you could try to do this with a waggler, but to be honest, it would take you a long time, and a pole's just much more accurate at doing it. Now, just a little bit of a dip there, but probably only an inch or so. And just another inch. I mean, this is frankly hardly anything. What I'll do is I'll put these other 2 sections on. For the purposes of today, because I haven't got all day, number 1 wife is shopping in the town, so I've got a limited period of time to fish. Okay, I'll go another few inches deeper, and I think that might well cope with what we need. Okay, so yep, just on the bottom, float sticking out, same inch difference, Yeah, hardly anything. I know you can't see the float, but trust me, it's flat. It literally is flat out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start off on the pole. Quite often you would start off on the feeder, but that's up to you. And of course you could just feed the pole line. But for the purposes of today, I'm going to just find myself a pole line reasonably close in first of all. Probably sort of a top 2 plus 3, because that's comfortable. I can do that one-handed, and my arthritis is getting worse, so that's where we're going. So, because there's no actual features, right, that's actually almost absolutely spot on there at that. If I go a little bit further, yeah, it's just below the base of the float, and to be honest, I'm thinking if that's it, let's just go to that, sorry, 11 metres, that's about 7 before, go to 11 and have a look. Yeah, it's probably 3 inches deeper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark on my pole, and however you do this is up to you, but I'm just going to use a marker pen to mark the depth. In fact, what I am going to do, because I wanted to fish just so that I was at that sort of depth, sorry, so that the float was sticking that much out, I'm just going to come down an inch for that. And where's my pen? There we are. So, just put my marker on there. That's the first one. And in fact, I've got another marker which is just a little bit deeper there, so I'm just going to rub that off, and I tend to just use one of these. Comes off really easy, just be careful you don't go too mad. So let's got rid of that one. Now if I go up another sort of, I don't know, let's call it, well, a float's distance, let's do that. That should actually then get me the depth for the 11 metre line 2. As I say, this is pretty much what you'd do on a normal swim, but it's really sort of just putting it all together for you so that, as I say, get your information first of all before you go, and then you can shorten this process dramatically, because you already know if it's got an immediate sort of a shelf down here and then a slope and another one or whatever, because you've spoken to whoever about it. Right, so that, yeah, that's actually about what I expected. So we'll put another quick mark on that. In fact, I probably should have left that mark on, shouldn't I? But that's all right, no biggie. And at some point, I will actually set up a rig for down the edge there, because they're carp and they come in down the edge. Now remember, it's not a commercial, so you're not going to, whoops, that wasn't good. You're not going to wait till the last hour before you do this kind of thing, because of course on commercials everybody chucks their bait in at the end, and the fish know to try not to fall in down, know to come in and feed. And that's why in matches they quite often feed right at the last hour or so for big carp in the edge, in the margins. Right, so there's your basics. Get your information. If you haven't got information, do what I just did there. I will just set up quickly another rig for down in the edge, but then as soon as we've done that, we'll start doing a little bit of fishing just to see how we go. Okay, that's me finally set up. Let's get out there and have a go. I'm going to start off actually on the 7 metre line, so I'm just going to, I mean, on a match I'd have probably had a couple of rigs set up to do this, but for the purposes of this session I'm just going to move the float between those two marks. So we'll do the 7 metre one first of all, see how we go, and just work our way out. Now of course bear in mind, this isn't necessarily how you would do it when you've been to the venue a few times, because again, remember, what you're doing here is you're learning. So by the time you've been here to the, say, 3rd or 4th time, you'll have worked out a better way to do it than I'm doing today. And it may be that you start off at 13 meters or something, or it's not something you can learn everything about in one day. So we'll go through a logical process and see how we go. So I've got a marker over there, put that in and get myself sorted out by way of the rest. And now, feed wise, there's an old saying in fishing, as a lot of you know, you can always put feed in, but you can't take it out. So in other words, if you bang a load of feed in to start with, like balls and balls of ground bait or handfuls and handfuls of pellets, you're likely to kill the swim stone dead and get nowhere fast. So we're going to take an easy sort of step at this, and what I'm going to do, if I can find it, here it is, I'm going to feed through a pole pot, just for accuracy. Later on, I may just underarm it out to the 7 meter point, but for the moment, we'll use the pole pot just to get that accuracy and just get some small amounts of bait out there. Now, bait wise as well, something to bear in mind is, if you haven't been able to get any information at all about what are the best baits and all the rest of it, as I said before, then take quite a lot of different baits with you. Now, like today I've got some corn, I've got some pellets, and I've actually got some wheat which I've coloured up, and I've got some hemp seed, and I've got pellets in this one, which is micro pellets which have been wetted down, and I've got ground bait. Now, probably not going to use all them, but I've got them just in case. And if you could buy maggots where I am, I'd have probably got some maggots as well. Now, you can buy them, but they cost an exorbitant amount, and you have to get them shipped to you. It's not a question of just going down the local tackle shop and doing it. So let's just get that out, put some bait in, and bring that over the top. Get it down a bit. As you know, I'm using the pole bar, the noddy bar, because of the arthritis, but that works for me, so that's how we're going to do it. Time when I last looked a few seconds ago was about 20 past 11, because I had to keep the wife happy first of all, and get some breakfast and sort a few other things out. So 11:20 now, we're starting, and you'd normally hope on these venues to get a bite within, say, 40-45 minutes. So as I say, because it's in flood, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But at least, hopefully, you're getting the idea. Approach it logically. Work out, take the time to actually work out the contours of your swim. Because it may be that if you just go, oh, I'll chuck it out to X amount of reel turns or whatever, that you're missing a really good feature. And as you saw with the ledger rod there, using a bomb on it, I got a good feel for what's out there. And as I say, it does feel pretty much flat. What will be another good swim, I think, is just down the edge a bit later on. So I will trickle just a little bit of feed out down there. Got a sort of a marker on the bank, and it's sort of, oh, that was a good start then, that's too far out. Down there, that's where I'm going to probably end up fishing. I could fish down behind the cameras, but then you wouldn't see it. And there is actually a weed bed down there, which I probably would have gone for normally, but hey, as we say, this is about sort of hints and tips on how to approach a new venue. As I say, take your time and spend the time to get an accurate idea of what the contours of the swim are. Feed your way in slowly. Little and often always works better than great big piles of ground bait all at once. Of course, you know, sometimes we do pile in ground bait, but not on the very first go at a venue. Oh yes. Oh no. That felt like a lump. Well, if I'm catching fish or getting bites that early on, I think I'm going to decide that I'm going to do away with the pole pot. It's only 7 meters out, and I can throw that by hand. That was a proper bite too. Well, looked like it to me anyway. But then, what do you know, Den? Right. Don't like it when I lose the first one. But that did feel a bit heavy. What I'll do, as I say, is we'll do this on a little and often basis. So it's literally 3 or 4 bits of corn. I can flick those out around the float, maybe a slightly wider area. The thing I find with wild fish is that you can, unless there's millions of them, you can spook them if you're not careful, especially in these early stages, like losing that one there. As I say, it may take you to 2 or 3 goes to get to grips with the venue, and if there's nobody else around, you've got to work out the best way to do it for yourself. As I say, we'll feed on the little and often principle, and you can't normally go too far wrong that way. So just a few pellets. It's actually quite an easy chuck because, is that a bite already? I'm sure as that hit the bottom then there was definitely a movement, but I didn't strike because I wasn't sure. And again, it's probably been in for 30 seconds, 45 seconds. This one's even smaller than the last one. Let's go for that weed bed. I know you can't see the weed bed, but it's definitely there. Well, at least that rain hasn't really killed it like I was worried about. Down they go. And we're only just coming into sort of springy, sort of summery sort of thing now. But yeah, that is actually, it's very short, very fat, and it's probably 2.5 pounds, I reckon. But yeah, not bad. First fish. And again. Well, oh, he's off on a bit bigger maybe. Gotta be careful. That weed bed down there is actually quite close to me, and I don't think it's all that substantial. It's that sort of silkweed, I think, mostly. Ooh, fish. Well, he's off to the middle of the pond, isn't he? That was me thinking it was going to be another 2-pounder. I just want to see him. Don't think he's massive, but isn't he fighting? Surely I haven't hooked him in the tail or something, have I? He's a bit of a nutcase, isn't he? Oh no, he looks like he's in the mouth. Come on. Wow. These fish have got so much in it. Oh, he's in the mouth properly. Nicely hooked in the mouth. Come on. Ah, there. Gotcha. Well, he'll do. Short, fat fish. Very short, fat fish. I'm not going to be able to get him in my hand. Oh, hang on, maybe if I can comfort lift him. There we are, look. Big fat thing. I'd guess at 4 pounds, but hey, cool. Ooh, straight in, straight under. I'll tell you what, as a match venue, this was going to be good. Yeah, again, short, fat, heavy. Tell you what, these would make you a weight in a match. Whew. I'm just going to feed each time a few bits of corn, maybe a few pellets, maybe a bit of wheat, and then gradually I'm going to build up as the fishing improves. Don't half take off. Bit of a frog in my throat today, I'm afraid, guys. Sorry about that. Come on. Soon build a weight with these, wouldn't you? And this is about probably the fifth fish, isn't it? And that being the case, if they're sort of 3-4 pounds a piece, you're already looking at what 5 fours is close to 20 pounds. I can't believe how short and fat they are. I'm sure the camera doesn't do them justice. I mean, that, I know it doesn't look like much, but it's all I can do to hang on to it. It's that wide, and it's probably best part 3.5-4 pounds. Right, just keep that bait going in. Well, smaller one this time, but pretty instantaneous. Tell you what, guys, if there was a match on here, I think it might be a bag up session. I think this is the smallest one I've had so far. Yeah. Now you see that one, it weighs probably a pound, probably actually a little bit more, but not much. But that was dead easy to come in, wasn't it? Pretty much instant now, isn't it? You come up to about 10 fish, and it's literally one a chuck. Fairly smallish one, but yeah, coming well. Tell you what, I'll take this one off, and what we'll do is I'll see if I can get the zoom camera to zoom in on the float a little bit for you. Okay, I'm hoping I've got the zoom camera set up down there and ready for you now. So let's put it in, see where we are. Bit of corn, and straight under. Well, actually that weed bed is a moving weed bed. It's travelling down towards me, so it's obviously not anchored to the bottom. You might get to see it shortly because it is going that way, but that had a nasty tendency to come lurching at me, didn't it? But this is where we're at now. Straight in, straight under. That's a decent fish. Don't think I need to put sections back on, but yeah. And I haven't even tried down the edge yet. Look, this isn't a match. This is really just, as I said, helpful hints and tips. At this point, I'm just enjoying the day. Kicking up a lot of muck on the bottom, I'll give him that. Ooh, he saw the net. Finally. Wouldn't take many of these to put a really big weight together. And that one's probably a good £5. I'm pretty sure they don't look it on the video, but they are so thick. Oh, there's stuff all over the line is the only thing. See if they keep coming. I mean, so far, you can't complain, can you? Wow, I don't think that had properly sunk. It was literally just hitting the bottom. So much muck been stirred up down the bottom from him. Come on. It's slightly tiring. I think I'm tiring more. Right, this time maybe. Let's see if we can get a little bit of elastic in, see how that goes. Right, come on, this time. There we are. Woof. And that one, oh yeah, that's a bit bigger. That's probably 6 or 7 pounds. I'm not going to try and lift him out of the net. Yeah, if your average was 5, you wouldn't take long to get to £100, would you? Seconds, that's all it takes, isn't it? Seconds. Easy access, easy fishing. Love it. Don't know how long I've been fishing for now, actually. Let me have a quick look. We started at, right, 12:30, so I've been going for an hour and 10 minutes. And yeah, I've got a decent weight already. When you think about this, if you caught one of these in total every 5 minutes, because you cast in, you put in, and you get a bite straight away, and then you're fighting it. Even if you fought it for 5 minutes, and they were sort of 4 or 5 pounds a piece, that's 12 fish an hour, with an average of, let's call it 4 pounds instead of 5, and this is actually bigger. What's that? 12 fours it's nearly 50 pounds. So in 2 hours, you've done £100, and this actually is substantially bigger. This one's probably in the £8 range. I will show you just to prove it. There we are, look. Huge, great big gob. Big, thick all round. Not very long, but big enough to make an £8 out of that. So that would have been sort of 2 of those 4 pound fish, wouldn't it? Certainly haven't needed to go to 11 metres, have I? Not sure I needed to go to 7 looking at this. As I say, that's what happens when you fish a venue for the first time. You learn some things, but then it's up to another day to try something different and see which works the best. This thing is just a nutcase. It really is. This time. No, maybe not. This time then. There we are. Wow. Oh yeah, that's a good fish. That's probably £9, that one, I would guess. Can't get to the hook. Oh, I can. Yeah, I'm not taking them out. I think we've got enough of an idea of what these things are like. But again, that's effectively worth 2 of those 4-pound fish. I have no idea what kind of weight you could do. I mean, what's this, 5-10 seconds per bite? So I think you get the idea, folks, that this is working. I must have done something right to have had this kind of a day. I'm going to carry on for a bit, but I think you've seen enough. You know what to do. So go out there and go enjoy yourselves. Anyway, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please click the like button. If you want to subscribe, as always, that's even better. But until the next time, bye for now.